Welcome to a brand new session of Innovation Sparks, where the power of innovation meets the heartbeat of the media industry. Today, we dive into storytelling and its vital role in shaping our content, formats, platforms, in other words, the whole media universe. Storytelling has always been at the heart of human communication, connecting, inspiring, and sparking our imagination. It can transport us to different worlds, evoke emotions, and create lasting impressions. But in this ever-evolving digital age, storytelling must adapt and evolve alongside our audience's changing needs and expectations. Join us in this thought-provoking episode titled Reimagining Narratives, Exploring Innovation in Digital Media Storytelling, as we explore the importance of innovation in crafting compelling stories. Through innovation, we can unlock untapped potential, discovering new methods and technologies that elevate our narratives to new heights. That's why today we are privileged to be joined by experts from both public and private media, each representing a unique perspective shaped by their diverse experiences. Together, we'll look into the innovative approaches that have shaped their respective media landscapes, shedding light on the transformative power of storytelling. So, get ready to embark on an enlightening journey as we unravel the complexities of storytelling and the role of innovation in its evolution. So, my dear colleagues, let's embrace new ideas and reimagine the possibilities together, igniting the spark of transformation and shaping the future of storytelling. Are you ready? Let's dive in. So, let me introduce our esteemed guests who will join us in our second Innovation Sparks journey. Markus Moerchen, the Deputy Editor-in-Chief of Tagesmagazin Mainz at ZDF, or ZDF in English, as a visionary in developing new formats for streaming media and social platforms in the meantime. However, before this chapter in his career, he was responsible for the German public broadcaster's highly acclaimed children's program. Let's learn more about Markus.
Markus Moerchen is Deputy Editor-in-Chief of Tagesmagazin Mainz. Within the news department of German public broadcaster ZDF, he is responsible for the development of several new formats. For streaming media, YouTube and social media, he has won several awards, e.g. the most important German television award, Deutscher Fernsehpreis, for the best information program in Germany. For many years, he was senior editor of Logo, the only daily children's news program in Germany. Markus Moerchen is contributor to a workbook on media studies and is also worked as a lecturer at seminars for journalists and teachers.
Thank you, Sparky. Markus, with your extensive and successful career, we are eager to hear about your experience with innovations, particularly in storytelling. As someone who has been at the forefront of the industry, you must have noticed the need to adapt and then chase your storytelling approach. Can you share any discoveries of game changers in you encountering while exploring new formats and presentations?
Yeah, I think, thank you very much for having me. It's a great pleasure, and thank you for the introduction. Yeah, I think as a journalist in children's media, it was always necessary to be very up to date with new formats and with format development. So I had done that for many years, and children's television, in a way, is a little before everything else, because you see all the developments earlier, because children are earlier adopters. They went much earlier to Instagram, later to Snapchat, then to TikTok, and we had to react on this. And it was always a game changer, because we saw that children start completely changing their behavior in terms of media consumption. So we were always on the run to take on with this development, and we had to develop new ideas and new formats. It was always very adventurous to go this way, but it also made a lot of fun until today.
Thank you, Markus. Joining us from North Macedonia, Goran Igic is a multifaceted media professional as the co-founder of VidiVaka. His storytelling prowess has elevated the outlet's reputation, making it a household name known for its captivating, short, informative videos. Here's what you need to know about Goran.
Goran Igic is a multifaceted media professional from Skopje, North Macedonia. His journey in the industry began as a journalist for the university newspaper Studentski Zabor in Skopje, where he honed his storytelling skills. In 2006, Goran co-founded VidiVaka, a digital media outlet that quickly gained recognition for its exceptional storytelling capabilities. VidiVaka's production of short informative videos became synonymous with its brand, establishing this outlet as a well-known and respected multimedia outlet.
Goran, VidiVaka is truly a unique platform in the Balkans. We would love for you to introduce what makes it so special. From what I understand, it is promoted as a one-of-a-kind storytelling studio. Could you elaborate a bit on what that means and share how you reached the point where you realized the need for such an innovative concept?
Yeah, thank you for having me first, and thank you in the name of the whole team of VidiVaka. If I answer the question, I will have to skip my presentation, but I can tell you shortly that what changed things and what made us unique were several points. First was that we saw that the media space is very saturated at the time when we were beginning, and unfortunately I've sent you wrong information. It's 2016, not 2006 when we started VidiVaka, so it's 7 years now. And we realized, because we were not only journalists, but we were also consumers of media, and we had the need to consume good stories and to have the chance and the approach for good storytelling and not abroad. So what happened was that we saw that media are detached with the audience, and that's kind of a very big red flag. That's our market. That's the place where we market things, that these are the people that we exist for. So what we did is we tried to do good stories and to put people in focus. And we were supposed to be a 6-month project. It's 7 years now. 1 year ago, we opened an outlet in Serbia, and I have a lot of good things to say later on.
Lovely. We are very, really keen to hear what you're going to present. And my name is Jakov. I'm a DW journalist, also a media consultant at DWAkademie, and your host.
Innovation Sparks host is a content creator and supervising editor with 30+ years of experience, currently engaged as an audience engagement and development specialist, supporting DW's editorial team. In the past 10 years, he has also worked as a digital media consultant with DWAkademie in Europe, Asia, and Africa, mainly focusing on digital storytelling, news production, gathering, and fact-checking, but also content production for children and youth.
Before we continue, a few important announcements and logistical information to share. If you are joining Innovation Sparks for the very first time, let me introduce you to our Viber community dedicated to innovations. It's a platform where you can interact with media professionals from the Western Balkans region who share a common interest in this topic. You can also use this platform to ask questions and engage with us and our guests during the Q&A segment. Simply follow the instructions on the screen to join and participate. Additionally, starting this week, DWAkademie and its Western Balkan team are launching a newsletter that will provide updates on our activities, but also highlight many other projects and platforms and maybe tools you might want to test. More information about the newsletter will be shared in the Viber group. Lastly, we are very excited, as you can see I am as well, to announce that this year's Brave New Media Forum will take place on November 17 and 18th at the Jugoslovenska Kinoteka or Yugoslav Cinematheque in Belgrade. As you can see also my t-shirt. So keep an eye on more information on BNMF online in the upcoming weeks. Now let's dive into our discussion with our exceptional guests and explore the fascinating world of innovation in digital media storytelling. How can we recognize when our storytelling is falling short and needs reinvention? That will be my first question. What are the initial steps to initiate change, and which data should we rely on? Is it solely about views, clicks, and user engagement, or are there any other indicators to consider?
I could start. The first of all is, I will say a little bit more about this later on in my presentation, is when you recognize that you don't get the audience anymore. And this is the problem of many public broadcasters and classical television, that you see that either your public is getting older and older, or it's getting smaller and smaller. And this is at least the starting point when you have to change the way of approach to your public. And this is what a lot of colleagues in Europe find out in the last years, and we at ZDF also. So we have to change the ways of thinking to address to our audience.
Goran, would you like to add something?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and please have in mind that everything that I'm saying is from the perspective of the region. And every time that I want to say something that is worldwide, I will point that thing. In our case, in Macedonia, and now after 7 years, I can say in the former Yugoslavia region also, the first red flag that we didn't see was when phones in the newsroom stopped ringing. And that was actually the most important red flag and the first step into making a very, very serious echo chambers in the society and in the media landscape. So basically, from being the people who are there to listen to the audience, to advocate for them, to tell their story, we have became, actually journalism came where it wanted to be, recognized by the elites and recognized by the politicians, and not care about the audience. That's how we created echo chambers in the society, and that's how we had one media addressing to an audience that is already thinking and having the same position and the same information that they are offering to them. That's where we lost debate, that's where we lost questioning, that's where we lost critical thinking, that's where we lost human stories, focus on issues and society issues in the media, just by pointing out to these topics as they're not sexy enough. And we were running to get news first, which killed media actually in a very, very big portion, but we can talk about that later.
But do you believe the media, that it's something changed, that we are actually in some transition, or would you say that the media outlets still lack a comprehensive understanding of the importance of innovative storytelling, on also willingness to try new approaches? That's definitely not the case with VidiVaka, and ZDF is also experimenting. But in general, do you think that it's enough what we are doing? And did media also recognize the urgency of this matter? Also, maybe as additional question, just to inspire you a bit, do you think the media outlets are equipped to navigate and adapt to this so-called new normal?
I mean, this is a very, very, this is a very, very interesting question, and it's not easy to answer because it needs a lot of context. And actually, the thing is that why we are here is because we were never satisfied with what we are doing. We never let ourselves in the position of a comfort zone. We were always willing to get things wrong and prove to ourselves that things are not functioning. Living in a society in which any of the ideas that you present is replied with, no, that doesn't work here, it's very hard. And in the end, it was, and it still is very hard to do what we are doing, because it would be much easier for us if we have several outlets like VidiVaka. At the point, it's the quality and the values that are letting us stand out, but it's like we are like a new thing in the region, and there are not a lot of funds and not a lot of ways and not a lot of need for new things. We need to create the need, and we are creating it for 7 years now.
Markus.
Yeah, I think that we always are, and this is probably the type of it all, that we always are a little bit behind the development. As we see in the new digital news report of Reuters this week, that the news avoidance is much bigger under young people than it was before. So we have to change probably much faster than we do today. But we always are a little bit behind it because we need to find new solutions, and this takes time. Innovation takes time. Yeah, I think we have to change much faster right now, and we do it in ZDF. I will talk about it later, that we're doing it right now. But to keep this the speed, I think we need even more.
If I may add, thank you, Markus, for saying this and saying it the right way. News avoidance, that's the main topic for me. That the young people are not telling us that they don't want news, that they are avoiding the news that we are serving to them. And that couldn't be more clear, that we are not doing things good. And I agree with Markus also we don't have the commodity that newspapers had for 200 years to wait, to adapt, etc., etc. Things are going a lot faster now.
Yeah.
It's actually interesting that you're mentioning this Reuters report, because I'm also following this for many years. And yes, obviously there's a tendency that not just young people, but audience in general avoids news. But at the same time, people who are behind this study are very cautious. In addition to this, and I kind of need to share this because I think it's really interesting, that there is a second level of this research, because they also hired a company that developed some kind of platform. They didn't do it for the whole world, but they did it on 3 markets. Don't ask me why. So it was, if I'm remembering right, US, UK, and Brazil. So they've been really following young people, what they do 24/7. And it turns out, yes, they do avoid news, especially if it's, something dramatic, catastrophes, now war in Ukraine, and if we are doing it too much. What this platform didn't answer is, what's the proper storytelling? Like, is it really about, these news, or it's about us journalists who are doing it, having a completely wrong approach? And it turns out, by the way, that also this news fatigue among youngsters is not that bad. It just means that people are, it's too much, like for any person, like I can't handle it anymore. So they move away, consume something else, and then they return. Of course, they're interested in what's going on in Ukraine. But if you want to add anything to this, please do.
Yeah, if I may, it's the very good point. This is one of the points in my presentation later on, that we need to work on quality and not on quantity. A lot of media, especially here in our region, they have a quote. So they need to publish 100 news today. Don't ask them why, they don't know. That's how it works.
Because of search engines, I know.
And
it's the
of course
same.
You're saturated and you can't get all the information. You want one information in the day, and if you want more, you will. I mean, there is no successful plan. I have to agree on that.
And what you said about what a news report is not saying, that how is the approach? I mean, this is what our duty. This is what we have to do. A news report never can do something like this, because we cannot watch into the future. He is watching backwards. So this is our duty to find that out. And we have to try as much as we can. This is what we have to do right now. And then we'll see how we can change this behavior. I'm sure we can get this audience, but we have to do much harder, to work much harder on it, to get successful.
I'll ask something that's related to what we discussed previously. I've noticed, I don't know, should I call it a phenomenon or tendency, but still I'm wondering, I'm really curious what you're going to say about this. So, okay, Goran has a small team, so they all of them need to think innovatively. But many other private media outlets, including public ones, tend to install these so-called innovation hubs. So I'm wondering, what do you think? Is that the right way to approach the challenge?
No, I don't think so. There are good examples in Germany. for this, that innovation hubs work. But I think we have to change the complete behavior of the media industry. And it means that the innovation has to start there where the people are who do media. And this is how we work, that we have small teams to develop new formats, and I put in there all the time new colleagues of the TV team, that they can learn how it works step by step. And I think everybody has to get changed right now, and not just the media innovation centers. I think that's not enough. Everybody has to learn how it works, and everybody has to start talking much more to the audience. This is what we didn't learn in the past, because we thought we just send and everybody's listening to it. Now we had to get in much more into interaction, and this is what everybody has to learn, not just the media hubs.
Here in the Balkans, we need, I believe that for everything, we need to go back to the roots. So first thing would be to define and to explain what innovation is. I think that a lot of people are not doing anything because they believe that innovation is Nikola Tesla, that they need to invent electricity. So I would start with that. I would start with that, because in the beginning we were having issues to explain to the journalists that we were hiring what is our model, then to the donors. Then when we got the funds to start a 6-month project, the donor told us, we still don't know what you're doing. We are the only project that is existing out of 160 projects from that program. So that's because we tried to listen to the world and to the ones who adapted to the changes. And we were lucky enough to have the capacity to know that it's essential for journalists and for a media outlet to communicate with its audience, to listen to the audience, even when they're telling us that we are promoting some agenda for money, which is not the case many times, fortunately.
Since you mentioned this several times, Goran, in this so-called media realm, whether it's a public or private sector, securing funding is crucial to bringing ideas to completion. But while emerging technologies like AI have garnered attention and facilitated funding for experimentation, ensuring the long-term sustainability of new formats is obviously equally essential. So how can the public, but also private media, work towards achieving this goal of sustainability, financial sustainability for innovative ideas? What strategies or approaches have you seen or implemented? I know you're going to be talking about this, Goran, anyway, to ensure the viability of new formats in these sectors.
That was for me, right?
Yeah. For both.
Okay. For both. All right. But I can say proudly that we have achieved something that, to my knowledge, not any other media in the Balkan region, or maybe even broader, has achieved, and that's 40% sustainability from the services that we sell. So what we advocate for is that good journalism is good business. We do not stand behind the old ways of journalism. Until 90s, we have secure funding. After 90s, we have the attitude that you need to give us money and we need to do the stories. We are selling our storytelling qualities, and we managed to do that very successfully, using the advantage of the comfort zone that all traditional media have been enjoying. Basically, we realized that we have a clear landscape of a lot of civil society organizations who do not get the attention and the space in mainstream media. So we started doing the stories in our way. Our storytelling got recognized, and all of a sudden we have a lot of clients that want our way of telling stories. So basically we have a very good experience with this. I know some other media who are doing some crowdfunding, but that's totally different, of course. Mm-hmm. I believe that we are still in a very, 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 very early phase in the Balkans, and that the idea of good journalism being good business is kind of very scary, and people do not, the journalists itself, the media people do not want to accept this. So that would be the first step, to accept that we need to realize our business model. It's not that we were very smart, that we knew in the beginning. We needed time to realize what is our business model. So it showed itself, but when we saw it, we kept on building upon it, and today we have a lot of innovative products which are not electricity.
Okay, Markus, I'm sure you also want to add something from the public service media perspective.
As a public broadcaster, we were used to have very stable conditions in the end, but then we recognize that when public is more and more not using our media, it's getting much more difficult to get the money from the public, and this is something which is a big problem for us in future, I guess, to convince people that this is what we do is important for them, that they don't just need Netflix and other streaming media, that they also need public media. And I think this will be a big challenge in the Western world. And I don't know how this will be ending. We see that BBC, Great Britain, and so on, and other countries have a big struggle on this. And I'm really looking forward how it will work out in other countries.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for this special segment to dive into the fascinating projects our guests have been involved in. We'll begin with Goran and his incredible journey with VidiVaka. As we mentioned earlier, VidiVaka has not only embraced storytelling, but has also transformed it into a, let's say, thriving business model, if I may say. If you're curious about the secrets behind their success and how they reached their goals, this is your moment to pay close attention. But before I let Goran speak and share his presentation, I will remind you that you can obviously join our Viber group or Viber community, ask questions, because after this, we will have a short Q&A. Goran, the screen is yours.
I'm very honored to be sharing this podcast with the colleague from ZDF. And since we all know who ZDF is, I'm going to start by showing you our end, actually 5 years of VidiVaka and who we are. And then I'm going to make sure I'm brief and precise and short with the presentation.
Секоја промена започнува со приказна. Секој развој на општеството во кое живееме, секој срушен стереотип, секој живот сменет на подобро.
Благодарам на луѓето кои што ми го подари овој лаптоп, тој многу ќе ми помогне во образованието.
Приказните не менуваат како луѓе, но и како заедница. Пет години градиме мозаик од човечки и социјални приказни. Се со цел да ги урнеме предрасудите. Да мотивираме и инспирираме преку приказни за луѓе кои се доволно смели и луѓе кои се доволно креативни.
Колку што има добри возачи на страните на жените, така има добри возачи на страните на мажите.
Мојот стон ке паднеше затоа што никој не сакаше мене да ми посвети внимание.
Што би сменила? Па не знам, многу работи би сменила. Човештвото би го сменила. Сам дека пред се.
Да ги поддржиме оние кои тргнуваат во нови предизвици. Оние кои се доволно љубопитни да откриваат нови светови. И оние кои се доволно силни да го зачуваат постоечкиот.
Искористи го гласот за добро.
Да бидеме ветер во грбот за храбрите, вредните, одговорните, посветените и упорните. да го пренесеме ентузијазмот на младите и мудроста на искусните.
Ја гарантирам дека тоа дете више не иска.
Да ги зачуваме природните скапоценности, општествените добра и културните вредности, за да направиме промена на подобро за сите нас.
Thank you for helping and assisting me with the video. This was actually done as summarization of a lot of stories and changes that we managed to do in society in 5 years of VidiVaka. But I told you something about that. Now we're going to talk about why we believe that we are innovative. And one of the things is that because we believe that good journalism is good business. And I'm going to try to be short. Okay, can we go to the next slide? So good journalism is good business. We started in 2016, actually. And in Macedonia, in 2021 in Serbia. We can go through this. It's what journalists work with, information, news, and stories. But according to some of rules that we established is that one, big, good, responsible media should have the informative component, the news component, and the entertainment component. We started in 2016, and up to date, actually, these are numbers from 2021. And that's because we decided that we are using a showcase of 5 years period. It's not that we are lazy to get the information for the last 2 years. So we have over 3,000 video stories on 4 channels. YouTube is actually not one of our channels. So the video that you saw with 213 views, that's the reason why it's so low. We are working on YouTube now. And one of the reasons is because the attention economy. And basically, YouTube is the best example of promoting and favorizing relevant content. We have over 200 interactive stories, which are gamified videos, multimedia stories, VR stories. From recently, we have storytelling. We have over 15 awards in the country for our storytelling. Please go to the next slide. Here are some numbers. We have now more than 150,000 people following us. We are reaching monthly 700,000 people. Please bear in mind that Macedonia has 1.6 million people now. We have 600,000 monthly video views and 100,000 minutes of videos watched every single day. So if you're asking yourself the question that was true in 2016, that the attention span of people and focus is 9 seconds, that's not true. So in the middle of this, we can go to the next slides very fast. We had our first sale, then we had our first fail, and then we had our first doubt. And after that, we had our first surprise. Now, next one, please. What you need to know is that we do not sell space, we do not sell ads, we do not sell our audience, and I don't like questions in presentations. So what do we sell? Next one is storytelling. And why? Please, next. It is our approach and our values and the idea that we are not going to do this for money that defined our business model. We always knew, just we needed to realize in practice that being the first is a false value, especially in contemporary journalism, which we believe that we are working. Please go to the next one. So what do we believe that is the problem with the outdated business model of being first? And that's actually what defined us. I'm going to go fast through this. Is that digital newspapers are full of content that is the same. That overproduction of content is linked to the need to make traffic on the websites. And that speed is essential to ensure that your article is opened, but not necessarily read. Next one, please. So what our storytelling as a business model allows us. We are the last to break the news. Instead of that, we are trying to be more in-depth, more accurate, focus on the right values. We could dedicate ourselves to producing unique and valuable content for our audience and listen to our audience. And pieces of content, the stories that we produce, are assets for our newsroom. Because in a business model where revenue are diverse, abandoning quantitative metrics based on clicks can be the cure for all journalism in a world of overproduction. Go to the next one, please. So we believe that doing less in terms of quantity of content means doing more in value. Next. And we already said this on the beginning. I think Jakov said that stories are central in how we live, and that formats come and goes and stories are forever. The first storytelling is in the caves. So storytelling has survived for many, many, many years. Logically, after all of this, we have opened a company because VidiVaka newsroom was under the foundation of Idea Southeast Europe. So we opened a company, which is we believe is the first storytelling studio in the Balkans and in the region, where we are doing a lot of commercial stuff. And this was done just by following the examples of great media outlets in the USA, such as the New York Times, CNN, etc. Let's go to the next one. I'm going to shortly go through some of the things that we are doing. We are doing interactive videos. Then what you need to know, it's on the next slide. And the information about this is that 54% engagement rate is the result of the stories that we have. And I'm going to read this. Our stories have a 54% engagement rate, which is 10 times more than the average post on social networks. So the 9 seconds rule, it's true, but it's not true. It's true to keep focus of people and for them to decide if they are going to follow the story later on or not. It is not true that the focus is 9 seconds. Let's go to the next one, please. What we also do, here are numbers. It's that we have over 7.2 million views, and people have spent 3.7 million minutes watching the stories that we do. Our highest reach was 1.2 million in 2021. And basically, that's the number of accounts, Macedonian accounts on Facebook in that year. Next one, please, is entertainment for civic education. This was the last component that we believe that we missed, and that is doing socially responsible things in a fun and engaging way. So what we did here, we did a short movie that got great result and has sent a great message about victimization and violence against women. And actually, we have proof of concept that this not only worked in Macedonia, but it also had great result in Serbia on the VidiVaka channel, which was not existing at that moment. Please go to the next slide. We can skip this because of the time we need. I can send the presentation. I just want to tell you about the storytelling videos with one more information on the next slide. This is the thing that we experiment with now for several months. Actually, we have several stories, I think 10 stories up to date. And actually, the format was started in 2012, I believe, by New York Times. So we need a lot of time to try and do this. And this is a proof of concept about people's attention. You can see the numbers. 50% is considered recommended and desirable bounce rate in worldwide range. And we have the bounce rate of 12 to 35%. Depending on the articles that we have published, the average shortest time spent on a story is 15 minutes. So we cannot speak about 9 seconds. And the longest average time is 25 minutes. And yes, the analytics today is very precise. You cannot open a tab and go to the next tab and it will stop measuring the time. Our best article has 12% of bounce rate. That means that only 12% from the people who came to the story left it right away. So this is a very, very, very important thing. And I think that New York Times has done something, and we have proved it to ourselves that is going to change journalism in very, very, very fast ways. So what would be the key takeaways? That we need to break the breaking news cycle, that he said, she said journalism is not important. It doesn't give any value. that we need to abandon overproduction as a business model. It's not working anymore. That we need to adapt our storytelling to our channels. I'm sorry I didn't have much more time to speak about this. And then we need to choose what we are best at and deprioritize everything else. We in the Balkans have the habit to run to things. One thing is popular, we all do it. Another thing then is popular in several years, we all do it.
Thank you, Goran, for sharing your obviously valuable insights. Now it's time to shift to Markus, who will introduce some exciting new formats he has been working on at ZDF. Markus, we are really eager to learn about your approach or taken by the German public broadcaster.
How these innovative processes work in the case of ZDF and public television in Germany. We have different approaches, but this is just one I want to introduce to you, the user-centered format development, so where we get very close to the users. Let's see if I can change it by myself. Doesn't work, I don't know why. There we go. So this is what we do right now, or we did and still are doing. These are 3 TV magazines in ZDF television, and these are in my department. And what we see is that was too quick now. Can we go back to the presentation? Yeah, here we go. And what we see, you see in these we call this content communities. These are the communities in the different age groups and different social backgrounds. And the youngest one are on the left side, and the old ones are on the right. And in TV, we have very much 4 to 6, and very much number 6. It means 60 and older. I think the average age of our magazines is somewhat in the middle of the 60s. So you see that we have to change to get more people. Streaming is younger, and streaming and social media is even more younger. So we have to bring people to the to other media to get them, and this is what we try to do right now. So what it means is that of 2 of the 3 TV magazines, there will just stay 1 at the end of this year. The other 2 will disappear to put the money into the development of other media formats in streaming media and in social media. And these are some of them, what I'm working on right now. These are documentaries from the hospital in series. There's a hospital series, there's a TikTok format, there's a travel format, there's a format I will talk about a little more, a factual format, and there's true crime formats, and so work in different fields, and much even more than these I show you here, because we see the need to change and to need to use other platforms than television. So these are the different steps of format development. I will take you on the journey of this format development step by step. First of all, we define concrete goals. We look what exactly do we want to have with this new format. What do we want to reach? So in this format, what we called soll ich, this is the really concrete goal, is to get a young and innovative format for the media library, ZDF Media Library, as an in-house production from the federal state studios. We do this that we don't put everything to broadcasting companies, though we just learn to do formats like this, like factual formats, also in ZDF with the people who work here. Second is to engage with the target group, and this is the most important point probably of the process. We go very deep into the detailed information about what a specific target group is thinking and what is using media and so on. So this is what we do in different approaches. Sometimes we talk directly to them. Sometimes we have like media service who gives us a lot of information. Sometimes we use persona, people who are set up to make a special surrounding and to address them in a special way. And what we did here at this format Soll ich is we focused on target group number 2, between 25 and 34 years, which is really young for ZDF and for the streaming media in ZDF, because we don't get them here. So this was an experiment, what we tried how to get them. What we also do is to analyze the market and the competitors. We need to know more about what other formats are successful, what are the competitors doing, and so on. So this is also a big part of the development process. Then we are developing the concepts. This is the normal television journalistic work, what we're doing, but with different approach, always out of the sight of our potential users. So what we planned here, soll ich, translated means should I, is a rect to format, a factual format. The USP are life-changing questions. So in our pilot, we asked the question, should I have children? And the length here is between 20 and 25 minutes, which is a good length for our streaming media here in Germany. Then we are going to produce the pilot. This is a small studio in one of our studios in Stuttgart in Baden-Württemberg, our federal studio there. And we developed the program in a way that we can produce it in very small studios. To get an idea of what I'm talking about, how the format is, I want to show you a small video. This is in German, so you cannot understand probably what they are talking about, but you can get an impression of how it works.
Ja, seit einiger Zeit diskutieren wir kontrovers das Thema Kinderkriegen.
Ich will mich eigentlich nicht trennen von ihm. Ja, ich drehe mich im Kreis, ne? Oh mein Gott. Schwanger sein für mich ist eine komplette Horrorvorstellung. Das ist einfach eine Sorge und eine Verantwortung, die so stressig für mich klingt und für mich ist. Ich möchte meine Energie einfach fokussieren auf mich und auf das nahe Umfeld, was ich besitze. Was geht hier ab? Das heißt, die hat abgetrieben oder was?
Mein geliebtes, ungeborenes Kind. Leider haben wir uns niemals kennengelernt.
Es ist jetzt kurz nach 7 und ich nehme euch jetzt mal mit auf eine Reise mit mir und den Jungs. Also ich bin unglaublich stark geworden durch mein Mutterwerden.
Hallo, kannst du noch mal einmal sehen? Ja, es tut mir leid.
So solche Momente wären die einzigen, die ich feiern würde. Mir ist jetzt sofort diese fehlende Ruhe aufgefallen. Das schreckt mich auch so ein bisschen ab.
Für mich hat mich gefragt. Impression of this. So as you see, this is completely different to what news journalists in ZDF are usually doing. It's set up in a studio and they react to videos, they react to surveys, they react to letters, and everything is dealing with the question of having or having not children. And so this was a complete different approach from what we usually are doing to address a younger audience. What we're doing afterwards is the testing of the formats, and we got a lot of really good reactions. We also got other questions which are going to be able to develop the format in another direction. So the testing, people said I was able to identify directly with the topic. I understood it, which we didn't know before. The episode was emotional, open, and honest. It was totally modern, like Netflix. I would recommend it, which is all very important for us because we want people to watch it. They also made a lot of critics on the format. There was an expert in there and said that was boring and so on. So we changed that. Within the next episode, we changed all these topics they were criticizing. And in the end, we have the release and the distribution, which is probably the most important part of it, to get the format known for our audience. So we do it via our website and the streaming media. And we also do it via YouTube and Insta and other ZDF channels. So that was exactly in time, 10 minutes. And I'm open for questions and comments. Thank you.
Yes, many thanks, Markus, obviously. So let's be as efficient as possible because we are obviously also running out of time. One of the questions, it will pop up in a second on the screen. Yeah, how does VidiVaka come up with topics? That is, how do you listen to your community?
Okay, yeah, I had the question previously, so I had the time to think. It's a process. It's a process. First of all, because you are starting with no audience, right? You need to create some kind of audience. And in order to do that, you need to be honest. You need not to lie to them, not to have clickbait, not to do those kind of things that we all know what the online media are doing. After that, they are slowly starting to comment, and after that they are slowly giving you inbox messages. It is very important, and what was very good for us is that we lived with the media 24/7. So sometimes we were answering messages at 1 a.m. or when some story broke the cycle and went viral in our space in Macedonia. Sometimes all the newsroom was working late in the evening. And just before we started, 10 minutes before, I got a message from the audience that is praising the content and saying that it is hard to find an informative content and stories such as yours, where there is no lies for likes or views, but you also directly help the people that are in your stories. We try not to help the people in our stories in a way that we are solving their problem. We try to help the people in our stories by giving them visibility and giving voice. And listening to them also means that we have to avoid parachute journalism. We need to focus on something that is called solidarity journalism and to follow some story from the beginning to the end. So first, be honest and be persistent in what you're doing if you believe in it and in the values. Then start reading the signals from the message, from the comments, and in the end, it's the direct communication. This is how it was in our way. And that's how we listen to the audience. At the beginning, we were choosing the topics with what we had as a journalistic instinct and with what we had learned in traditional journalism.
Mm-hmm.
So
thank you, Goran. Here's a question I think maybe Markus can answer, although both of you are welcome to share your opinions. So what do you think about TV format that includes more user engagement, meaning like on-screen audience feedback, such as level of trust and approval rate during the show?
Yes, we have a format like this at ZDF. It's called ZDF Heute Live, which is a live news broadcasting program, and you can comment on it during the show. I think that's really cool because there you have the interaction, and this is much more towards younger audiences. They use it very much because they're used to put comments on there and to react directly and live, like they do it on social media as well, and that works out pretty good. What you cannot control in this situation, like our live show here, is what exactly will be happening. So what exactly will they talk about, and is it true what they say? So this is sometimes you can check it, and sometimes it's really difficult to check it. So this is dangerous situation. But I think to be authentic, it's a good way to also develop and to broadcast news. So I think it's really good.
It was, yeah, go ahead.
If you're on the Balkans, I would suggest not doing it, because all the trends are showing that. For an example, when we started in 2016, we had one audience on Facebook, and in 5 years, our audience on Facebook grew old for 20 years. So basically, we had those migrations. The parents came to Facebook, kids went to Instagram, then parents came to Instagram, kids went to TikTok. So if you are trying to address young audience with the format, as Markus said, in the Balkans would be hard, because the young audience is not on the TV. I would suggest
it's not in TV.
Sorry.
This is in YouTube and in streaming media. Yeah.
Briefly, last question. As you, Markus, said, not being in control of what's true and what's false. Do you have an idea how this process will, make an impact in terms of fact-checking, the development and innovation in media?
Yeah, like I said, if it's, I think fact-checking is really important. We have live comment TV formats as well. I thought this was meant for streaming media, so like talk shows. And then sometimes they try to do live fact-checking, but sometimes it works, sometimes not, because it's so difficult to do it right away within minutes. And I think this is a big problem. But I think you have to try to deal with it and to give more people the opportunity to participate in the programs. I think that's really important.
If I may add on this, we at VidiVaka believe that fact-checking is a model that doesn't work, that makes no impact, and basically is like you are publishing news on the front page on the newspaper, and someone is getting the chance to say what is not correct on the 27th page. So we don't believe that this format works.
This is interesting, and I would definitely like to take part in that discussion, but not now. Some other time. Thank you actually for sharing this input, both of you. So, dear colleagues, obviously we have come to the end of another episode of the Innovation SPARKS series. I hope you enjoyed this exploration of storytelling as a powerful innovation in the media industry. We aim to provide, we as DWAkademie, valuable insights together with our experts and guests, and inspire you to, particularly in this case, reimagine narratives in your own work. If you'd like to revisit this episode, you can find it as a video on demand on the platforms mentioned above. I encourage you also to share it with your colleagues, spreading the message of innovation throughout your professional networks. Don't forget to join our Viber community to stay informed about future episodes and access engaging content on innovation, also AI, because this was also and will be one of the topics in the future. We value your participation and look forward to your continued involvement in the next session. So thank you for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep nurturing your creativity and let's shape more diverse and innovative content in the future. To you, Goran and Markus, many thanks.
Thank you.